Hey guys, it's Jason here. Today I'm doing another archery video, and I have an awesome Genesis Archery women color bow. So, as many of you guys know, I'm on the archery team, and I love and enjoy archery, and my goal is to get you guys in the love and passion for archery because it's an awesome sport, and it's one of the rare sports where anyone can play. It's not like football or basketball or something, or softball where you need a certain physical, ability or physique. All you need is to know how to be able to pull your arm back and shoot a bow. Almost anyone can do it. So it's one of those sports where it really gets a whole bunch of people together, like most sports can't. So it's really inspiring. It's fun, and the group of people you get that do archery with you, it's a good group of kids. And I think anyone who does it or has been in the school archery program can tell you it's a pretty amazing program to have, and I think our school is very lucky to have it, and our county to have multiple schools that offer it. So anyway, I want to get into this video. In the last video I did, I hate doing this because I don't like making mistakes, but I dry fired my bow. Now I thought this was helpless, or not helpless, but like I didn't really think it was a bad thing to do, but I got this whole big string of comments and personal messages, and you shouldn't ever dry fire a bow. And I'm going to kind of tell you guys the reason for it. For you guys that don't know, maybe you didn't watch my last video, dry firing is when you pull back and you fire the bowstring without an arrow attached to it, or without an arrow on your bow itself. So, you guys might be asking yourself, well, what's the big deal about this? What's it really do? Well, it gets down to physics. Many of you guys know what potential and kinetic energy is. Well, what we're doing is, when we're pulling back on this string, we're creating potential energy. We're increasing the potential energy. When it gets back to our, when we're in our stance, we're ready to fire, when we release, that potential energy turns into kinetic energy. Well, what's this kinetic energy do? It needs to find an outlet to release all that kinetic energy. Okay? Well, normally, that kinetic energy would be tunneled into the arrow, so that the arrow is thrusted through the air, and hopefully, if you're a good shot, hits the target. Well, when there's no arrow to channel that energy through, it has to go somewhere. Okay? Well, thankfully when I shot it, I ended up hitting this part of my arm right here, so the kinetic energy was transferred to my arm. Which, it's a bad thing. I ended up getting like a bruise from it. I didn't tell you guys about that, but I did. So it's not the best thing to have happen to you, but actually probably saved my bow, because if not, that kinetic energy is transferred all the way through here, and it usually ends up snapping your bow. Well, not snapping the bow itself, but the string. Which, as you guys know, these bows are expensive, $150. Yeah, they're not as expensive as the $750 bow that maybe your parents used to hunt, but it's still a really big investment, and you don't want to just waste it. So I'm trying to keep you guys informed, and maybe even just learn from my mistakes. So I read the user manual. There's actually, I took a picture, and I'll post it somewhere on this screen right here, somewhere, wherever I just had to put it. And it basically tells in the user manual, please do not dry fire the bow. We can cause extreme damage to your bow, which is basically what I just told you. So now that we got that over with, here's what I want to talk about now. This episode is going to be about the different parts of your bow. Now, again, it's not a $750, $1,000 bow, so the stuff on it is kind of simplified, but I'm going to try to teach you guys what's on it. So to start out, you have your upper limb and your lower limb. Now, there are different names for these parts, but normally, and from most people when I've read online, because there's different names, but Genesis, and the people that use the Genesis bows, which is, the school archery program bows, they call this the upper limb and the bottom limb. Okay, so pretty simple. Kind of like a limb, your arm or your leg is considered limbs, right? Now, the next thing is kind of your hand holder. Hand holder is maybe not the best word, but the hand grip. There you go, hand grip. So that's where you hold. So when you pull back, your hand has a nice crevice to hold on to. Okay? Now, in most bows, not the school archery bows, not the Genesis bows, but most bows, you have a sight. These bows don't. So, you gotta counteract that. It doesn't have that on here. One nice thing you have is you have this little plastic thing that your arrow sits on. And the nice thing about that is it is exactly across from the spot where your arrow sits under. So, in a perfect scenario, you'd set it up on this little plastic thing, attach the arrow in right here, you pull back. I won't do it because I'm not going to dry fire. You pull it back, you make sure your elbow and your arms, I'm doing this really bad because I got this wall behind me, but then you aim, you make sure it's even, you aim your target, and you let go. Pretty simple. So that's what it is. This is your bowstring. These are your little axis. They call these different things. There's really no official name for them, but these are kind of just little axis that spin the bow around. And this is your weight. Now most bows, it took me a while to figure it out because most bows have them in the front. This bow has it in the back, and I guess Genesis just does it that way. Trust me, the people that make these Genesis bows are really smart, so they have the knowledge of why they should be back here. But what it does is it makes it so when you aim it, it makes the weight all even across your arm. That way you're not aiming down, you have to manually pull your arm up, and it's not so your arm's leaning down, you have to manually push up. So it's really nice because it keeps a nice, sturdy ability for your hand to hold. You know what I mean? Oh, as I hit the wall. I'm going to end up damaging the wall, I'll tell you. But it ends up so you can hold it, pull back, and fire. So this is kind of just a brief, one more part. This is the weight. You get a little tool with your Genesis bow. You put it in here, you can change the weight with. Most people are recommended to only use a 20 weight, which is the default what it comes with. Every rotation is like 1.5 pounds of different relation of pressure. So I think it's between like 12 and 20 pounds of force. But I keep it on 20, and they tell you to try to keep it on 20 if you can. If you're younger, it's okay to lower it down. But because the higher the number, which is 20 is the highest, at least on the Genesis regular, the Genesis Pros go up to like 35 pounds. The farther, it means when you pull back, it has a stronger tension, which makes it go faster. It's going to hit its target faster and keep more accuracy. So the arrow, when it fires, just stays straight and doesn't kind of wobble through the air. So this is kind of just a general overview of your bow. Amazing bows, I'll tell you. And the nice thing is, they have bows for all sizes. These bows, really anyone could pick up, but they have the Genesis Minis, which are for the little kids that are in like kindergarten and 3rd grade, in those age brackets. Then you have the Genesis Pro, which is basically this, but it is not allowed in tournaments because it allows you to set a certain draw length, which, if you guys don't know what draw length is how far back you pull the string, the fire. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I promise I'll get more videos up. I know it's been like a week since I posted an archery video, so I promise to get those up. I really hope you guys get involved in archery. Even if your school doesn't have it, to get a bow and practice on your own. I know our school, it was a club at first, and they changed it to a sport this year. It's becoming popular. The Genesis bows are selling like crazy, and it's crossing the country. Archery is becoming a big sport in schools, and it's fun because it's not a discriminatory sport. And I say this very lightly, but let's all be honest. If you do any sports, they want the most athletic people, and they're going to be more lean towards that. So, if you're really, really good at something, like you're a really fast runner, they're going to let you off with more. In this, everybody's equal, and they treat you like equals, which is awesome because, some kid maybe gets made fun of. They get the same feeling that someone gets. Everything, no matter anything, your background doesn't matter because when you get up there to shoot, the only thing that matters is if you can get your technique down. So, I'll do more videos on technique because there's a whole bunch of techniques that if you do, greatly improve your accuracy and your range. So, thanks for watching. Have a great day.